Welcome to the Richmond Events podcast, where we take you inside the UK's most exclusive business forums. You'll get to meet the delegates, suppliers and speakers shaping their industries. Richmond Events, this is where business gets done.
Hello and welcome to the Logistics and Supply Chain Forum here at Richmond's event. I am joined by Stuart Frost. Stuart, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So tell us, Stuart, who you work with and what brings you along to the event today?
I work for the UK government, one of the large government departments, and I head up a team called Enterprise Security and Risk Management, which is basically charged with protecting the execution of the business strategy in the department, because one thing security is there to do is to enable delivery of business objectives.
Incredible. So what brings you along to Richmond Events today?
I think supply chain, which again is part of my area, it's not looked at correctly in too many organisations. If we look at the metrics, it's a very low percentage, around about 14, I think, % of organisations have only assessed the risk of their first tier suppliers, their immediate suppliers. Well, I'm not the greatest at maths, but I can realise that means 86% haven't. This is an extended attack surface. It's something we've got to address. As an industry, we're spending billions of pounds on solutions, but we still continue to lose trillions. Supply chain's a big factor in this. We're buying solutions all the time, but we're not seeing a fundamental change to how we're managing risks in the supply chain. And it's events like this that can force and help that change to go through.
And you said, 86% aren't looking at it at all, but the 14% are only looking at the first sort of line. That's of correct. That. So does that mean they're not looking deeper as well?
Some are. I think that it goes down to single figure percentages.
Wow.
And I think a lot of this is down to human behaviour. It's out of sight, out of mind. It's a well-known fact that physical presence and visibility drives our memory and attention. It's incredibly difficult. Your supply chain can go down to nth tier, but you need to start mapping it. And I think there's a dawning now in the industry that you can't do it all. You just can't. You don't have the capacity, you don't have the capability, you don't have the time. So you need, as an organisation, in my personal view, to focus on your critical suppliers. Understand what your business critical suppliers are and focus on them. Which are the ones that will prevent you from delivering your core objectives? Now, that might be an organisation that you've outsourced a key business process to. It might be an organisation that's got direct access into your network. It might be an organisation that holds a huge amount of data. These are all business critical activities that if attackers exploited any vulnerabilities around that, it could stop you to deliver those all important core objectives. They're key risk events. You need to focus on their scenarios. Don't necessarily worry about somebody that's perhaps got a gardening contract or a catering contract. Focus on the ones that could prevent you. Put your efforts into that. Understand the risk position and manage the risks effectively.
Where do people start with that, looking at that then? Because obviously it's quite a broad area. It is.
The other recognition is we've got to realise that security can't do this in isolation. This is a multidisciplinary problem. Unless you work with commercial colleagues, with resilience colleagues, with business colleagues, legal colleagues, you will not sort this in isolation. If you need to understand what your business critical processes are, speak to your business colleagues, speak to your resilience colleagues, then work with your commercial colleagues to overlay the contracts onto anything involved in these areas. Sounds easy, it's not. It takes time, it can be quite complex, but the fundamental is don't do it on your own. Identify who your key stakeholders are and work with them, because they'll have the information that you don't possess.
And is there anything we see coming in that can support that process and those systems and things coming into place?
There's huge amounts of software that help you to map your supply chain from tier 1 right down to the nth tier. And it's good, and there's some really excellent solutions out there. But we've got to remember that people use these solutions. And I don't necessarily subscribe to the age-old adage that people are the weakest link. I think it's behaviours that cause problems. We have good behaviours and we have bad behaviours. So as well and in tandem with bringing these fantastic mapping solutions in, we need to drive the right behaviours so that we can configure and use these solutions correctly. So it's a two-pronged approach. Software, utilise the software that's available to us today and drive the positive behaviours and build up the capability.
And what's the importance of bringing this sort of information to an event like today, where you've got all these industry leaders here?
Well, it's not just my information, it's information on how other people are tackling this problem. And it is a huge problem. Networking is underestimated. You only need to learn one thing today, something that you can take away and implement in your business tomorrow that can protect your organisation to a greater extent. We can't lock organisations down, but we can build resilience up in organisations. And people have got so many ideas. The issue we need to get across is to stop talking about it and actually get on and take some practical tips that we learn from the many good folks here and put them into practice in the business.
What do you see people taking away from your talk today? And do you see them sort of getting that information and be like, I've got it now, this is how we can start?
Yes, in part, but it's easy to say that. You've got to go away and you've got to have the resource, you've got to have the capability, and you've got to have the wherewithal to do that. I think there's a recognition as well is that you need to use risk correctly, which could be a whole new conversation. We need to understand how effective our critical suppliers' controls are in protecting their own organisation. And we need to work with them, not against them, with them, to test their controls, to get attestations, to get assurances that their controls are effective and in line with our own standards, and then we can move forward jointly.
Fantastic. I feel like we could dive so deep into this. We haven't got the time today, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.